and welcome to the Inside Story. Today I am delighted to be joined by Mariette Richardson, the author of Free the Hidden Speaker Inside. Hi Mariette, how you doing?
Hi Taryn, it's lovely to speak to you. Thanks for the invitation.
That's okay. Now you're way away from us now. You're over in South Africa, aren't you?
I am on an extended holiday. Due to COVID, I'm not able to travel back at the moment.
Because you went over just for a couple of weeks, didn't you?
Yes, for Christmas, and I'm still here.
Mind you, you've missed the snow, so it's not all bad. You've missed the snow.
Yes, you're right.
But I was thinking, has it been 1 or 2? Is it 2 years since we met?
Yes, I think, we met before COVID. It must have been around October 2019, I think towards the end of October.
Right, okay, because for some reason I have May in my head.
Oh, it could have been. I'm not good with dates. It seems like a long time ago.
we had one of those fortuitous meetings, didn't we? So we met at a joint sort of Women's Day, wasn't it? Where we sort of had a day at the Ritz, and it was all very glam and it was all beautiful.
Wonderful.
And you and I just kind of hit it off, and you said, I've got an idea for a book.
You're quite right. And by that time, I've started on the first draft. But you know what, Taryn? I wrote a textbook, and it was totally not what I had in mind. Well, it just didn't work. But then you emailed me just at the beginning of lockdown. And actually, that was just when I started to feel a bit low down and depressed. And I think that was about in April 2020. And you said, how's your manuscript coming on? And I was so surprised, but that is exactly what I needed to motivate me to start writing again. And when I looked at the first draft, I just thought, oh no, boring. And then what I did, I imagined a client in front of me, a person, and I simply spoke to that person.
And that's exactly what you need to do. So many people think when they're writing a book, particularly a sort of self-help kind of book, that you're speaking to a room full of people. And you're not. You're only ever speaking to one person. And it sounds just like you, which is brilliant. So your background is, we should probably tell people what you do. Go on, tell people what you do.
Well, this book is really the culmination of everything I feel passionate about. My passion is to guide people, to help them to communicate in such a way that they impact on people's lives. Everybody can talk, but very few people can really communicate and bring across a message that people actually understand it and remember it. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. And the whole book is about that. My background is, I started off as a young kid doing speech and drama classes. I've always been participating in Eisteddfods. I've done stage work, film, radio, television, and all that experience. And I've even been a newspaper journalist. But as a newspaper journalist, I learned how to interview people, which is also a skill which comes in handy now. And all the different types of experiences that I had and the skills over the years now come together. And I feel that I can really tap into all that experience to bring over a holistic, that's what I'm doing. I give a holistic approach to communication.
Brilliant. So what do you, obviously the landscape's changed dramatically, particularly for people that speak for a living or that coach. So what are your sort of tips for this kind of a scenario? What do you say to people who, because for some reason, and this surprised me, is I found that there are people that would much prefer to stand up on stage, but technology actually scares them to death.
Yes, it is true. It is true. The camera highlights and it zooms in on us. It's almost as if you are literally on a screen, on a movie screen, on a close-up, and it just brings out a lot more about you than standing far away on a stage. Now, what is very, very important is the whole picture that you present to people. It's not only about the words you are saying. The words is just part of it. And how you say those words, that's also important, but that's also only part of it. Look at you, for example, your whole frame, the whole picture. You're beautifully dressed, hair is neat and tidy, and we have an interesting background. It says something without you even saying a word. Your picture says something to us and communicates something. And that is why I say it's so important to frame a person correctly on screen. A white background is very clean and very stark. In television terms, we say you only put a man against a white wall if you want to shoot him. So if you can, please don't put yourself against a pure white wall. It's very stark, it's very uninviting, and very cold and harsh. In your case, Taryn, you've created a friendly atmosphere. It's far more forgiving and inviting. And that is what makes it interesting. And I am not a believer, or I don't advocate these artificial backgrounds that people sometimes use.
First of all, bits of head that keep sticking in out,
You're quite right. And the waving palm trees in the background. I don't like that at all, because the green screen interferes with your face and suddenly you get all strange breakups around your face. So I would say, if you can, avoid that. A simple background like you've created here is far more pleasing. What you want to achieve as a speaker, you want to seem in control of your speaking area, as if you own your speaking area. And the more at ease you are, the more at ease you put your audience. Yeah. We want to feel as if we are there, inside your office, there where you are. And by framing yourself this way, we can see more of your body, we can see your gestures. You know, when people do this, we can only see their foreheads. It's so unnatural, and it really doesn't make us feel comfortable. So I'll give you 10 out of 10 for this framing.
I'm good. That's it. Okay, so we have the framing all done. What about speaking then? So what are your tips for preparing before you kind of sit down?
Taryn, I always say, take for example, that when I prepare a person for a job interview, I forbid them to rehearse those 2 hours or 3 hours before the interview. Mm-hmm. I want you to just relax, do something different, listen to music, just take your mind off the interview yourself. And then prepare, of course, rehearse and prepare well enough beforehand. But the way you show up is super important. You need to come to the interview with excitement, energy. You should feel physically well. You should have had a good night's rest. You should have eaten well, had a good breakfast with protein, which will give you sustained energy. And you need to feel mentally well and happy and excited, because that all of those factors have a huge impact on the way that you communicate.
So the black coffee and 2 bourbon biscuits, I'm suddenly dropping points then, aren't
I? I'm afraid you do. Definitely. We tend to eat something sweet, but the energy then spikes and then immediately it drops, as you know. So we don't want that at all. The book is all about you as a speaker, not only what you say or how you say it, but who you are as a speaker. I say in the book, look like a speaker, act like a speaker, think like a speaker, eat like a speaker. And that is the most important for me. It doesn't help you to prepare a wonderful speech with all this slick remarks and phrases and good, well-chosen words and everything that you've compiled, and you present it in a wavering voice. You're hesitant, your speech is sluggish, and you don't seem animated and energetic and excited, then it's not going to work. And I'm afraid you're not going to make an impact.
So we won't give any more tips away, otherwise people won't need to buy the book. And I probably should have said before we started, if you hear any groaning or snoring or heavy breathing in the background, it's not me. The puppy was on nights, so he's very tired today, so he's snoring. So apologies if you do hear him. Now, the book's done very well, hasn't it?
Yes, I'm thrilled. And it's available now in the US and in South Africa, even on Amazon. And I can really refer people to buy it online. And even the ebook is doing well, the e-publication. And the good news is that our audiobook is almost ready.
Yay. Which obviously, I mean, because there's no way you couldn't have a book on speaking without actually doing an audio version. So you took several copies with you, didn't you, to do book signings? I mean, that's planning. You know, I'd have been packing my swimsuit and thinking about those things, and you're planning a book tour in South Africa. So well done for you. So has it been well received out there as well?
Well, the good news is that I'm totally sold out.
Perfect. That's what we want to hear.
Yes, we couldn't do a proper or a traditional book launch because of COVID, but I have photographs of all the different miniature book launches and book signings that I've had. So I'm going to compile a lovely compilation of all these photographs, and we'll publish that soon on social media.
Fantastic. Oh, that's good. So you've done all your recording for the audio side of things, so we'll be cracking on with that. Did you enjoy that process?
I loved it. I think that's my first love, I must admit. I've done radio work for quite a while in my lifetime, and I always thought, I think radio is such a special medium. It's only you and the microphone, and it's so intimate. And the best advice that somebody gave me when I started off in radio was, don't talk as if you are talking to thousands out there. You're talking to one single person, because one person at a time is listening to you. And that's exactly the same when you are doing television presenting, and when you are presenting online or even in front of people. I always say the secret is to be able to speak to one person at a time, even though you're addressing 500.
Yeah.
That is the skill, because then it becomes more personal, more intimate, and you speak to a person at a time.
So what's your view on the whole imagining the audience naked. Is that something you subscribe to, or do you think that's a fallacy?
I don't know. I never managed to do that in any case. I would blush if I have to think about that.
I always think that there'd be just there'd be somebody at the front. I didn't want to be naked, and then that would throw me completely. So.
You're right.
Now you did give me a tip the other week, which I thought was brilliant, and that was, you said you always put your shoes on, whether you're
yes,
speaking online.
Yes, most definitely. I'm wearing good shoes and I'm wearing perfume.
Yeah, no, I do that. Isn't that funny? It's I suppose it's a mood enhancer, isn't it? And like you say, it's setting your mind's space ready to do it. So if you were going to go on stage, obviously you wouldn't go on, well, some people I know do go barefoot, but for the majority it changes your posture, and you're suddenly, all very grounded. Even if you're sitting down, you're grounded. But the perfume, I think, just sort of lifts you in that, right, I'm going to do something businessy now, so I'm going to smell nice and feel good.
Absolutely. I think you're quite right. When I coach receptionists, I teach them to smile before they answer the telephone.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised. It changes the way you say good morning when you first can smile. It just helps you to speak in a different way.
I was always, because I worked very, very briefly in a kind of customer services role many years ago. Discovered I'm not good at it. I'm not good in customer services. But they always said smile as you answer the phone, because it does. And the same thing if you were cold calling for business, because if you're smiling, it lifts your voice, and it kind of changes your own mindset. And I do find that when I'm teaching, if I'm sort of smiling when I'm chatting to people, then my voice sounds differently. And it wasn't, I think, until it might be you that pointed that out, I wasn't necessarily aware that the difference in voice depending on the different facial expressions.
It definitely does. It definitely does. They always laughed at me at the radio. Before they give me, in radio terms, they give you a red light thing you on air. And before I would say, oh, wait, and first put my lipstick on. I would say, nobody sees you. But it does. It just helped me to be more confident when reading the news.
So what do you think is going to happen when we come out of lockdown? Do you think we'll go back to a lot more sort of physical on-stage performance, or do you think it will remain this way for a long time?
I certainly hope we could have face-to-face meetings again, for the simple reason, Taryn, that we communicate with our whole bodies. And doing this online communication, which we just have to bear with now, really restricts us. If you think about it, you can't stand in front of people. Your feet, your whole body communicates. And even if you speak to other people, you also pick up signs of their communication from the way their whole body moves. And somebody asked me, why does Zooming or online conferencing, why does it exert so much, or why does it tire us so much? And I honestly believe it's because we have to concentrate far more. We are only exposed to a small part of the participant or the person we're talking to. We can't really see your eyes very well. We can't see your gestures very well. So we have to really concentrate and focus on hearing you. We've got to listen. Sometimes the sound is not so good. Yeah. And we have to pick up everything, the background noises, everything, all the distractions. So face-to-face is definitely my number one choice. But I can't see that happening very soon. I think our lives have changed.
it's, it is a shame. I've found, so teaching face to face, I can pick up the students' visual cues. I can see if they're following me. I can see if they're understanding what I'm saying, or if I'm losing the room. When you're teaching online, you don't see a student at all. And keeping up that energy for an hour when you're getting nothing back at all is exhausting. I mean, it's hard enough face to face to be upbeat and keeping the room going and keeping them all going. But when there's nothing, it's just a blank screen in front of you or a PowerPoint presentation. It's really hard to kind of keep your own energy up as well as theirs. Also being conscious that if they're sat in a classroom scenario, there's just me and them, but behind the screen, there's their phone and there's their parents, or there's their siblings, or there's the TV, and all of the things that are going on, or the fact they're playing on their PlayStation when they should be listening to me, that kind of thing. But that's all going on in distractions that they would never normally have. And you're trying to kind of cut through that noise and keep their attention and keep their engagement. It is absolutely draining. And I think you're right that we're missing so many visual cues from people. We're not being face to face. We're not picking up the tension in people's body, or the disinterest that you can get. When you know that you're speaking to somebody face to face, you see it. You can watch the energy drop almost, but you don't tend to get that online.
It's very difficult. Just coming back to, you said that, do I believe in imagining the audience as naked? What I always say to my clients is make eye contact.
Yeah.
Because if you can make eye contact to the man in the third row next to you, just in front of you, and he makes eye contact and he nods or he smiles or he's interacting with you, that is the best boost for your confidence that you can possibly hope for.
Yeah.
Is the interaction of the audience. And unfortunately, we do miss a lot of that with this online conferencing. I think that is why it is so extra draining. And I would then recommend, let's make these sessions as short as possible. An hour on online conferencing is already very long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So on to exciting things. So at the end of last month, you were, what was the date? Was it the 7th of March? Yeah.
I can't even remember, but it was not that long ago.
Yeah, so you've been shortlisted for this year's Business Book of the Year. I mean, wow. How exciting is that for somebody who, as of this time last year, was only just putting the manuscript together? How does that feel?
I was blown over. I was already blown over when you called me on my birthday. Remember, it was on my birthday on the 8th of January. And you said that you've entered the book for Business Book Awards. And I was totally astounded because I didn't even think it was worthy of an entry. And now we're shortlisted. So it was such a surprise. But you know what happened that evening? I don't think I've told you, Taryn. I was still WhatsApping you. Remember, we were both attending the event, but I was on WhatsApp to you and I said, in which category am I? And when I looked at the screen, there my book was on screen. I nearly had a heart attack.
So you are shortlisted in the small business book category. So and the final, the evening for the final is the 25th of May. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So all exciting times for that. It's such a shame because I know previous years, obviously, it's been a face-to-face event, so you get to do the whole sort of black tie do and bigger. But we'll do this one online again, and we'll just have to have bubbly when we can get together. If we ever let you host
for that one, we must dress up for that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when are you thinking of coming back then?
As soon as I can. I really do miss home. And my husband is also talking about, it's a bit long for him now,
Yeah.
but the quarantine ruling is what, it's really a problem, and it's very expensive. So
Yeah, because you'd have to go and put yourself into a hotel, wouldn't you, for 2 weeks?
yes, that's correct, for
Right.
10 days. But it is at our own cost. So it is
Right.
quite a bit. Yes.
That seems quite strange having, if you were tested before you left and tested when you landed and you're cleared, to not allow you to just go home and self-isolate at home seems a bit strange.
No, unfortunately, I have made inquiries and they don't make any exceptions.
Right.
So
what is the temperature where you are at the moment?
Oh, I don't even want to tell you. It's probably around 28 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
It is sunshine every day. When I moved to the UK, the first thing that I've noticed is people would always comment on blue skies. Oh, we have sun and blue skies today. And for me, as a South African, that was really strange because we never comment on blue skies. Yeah. We comment when it's raining all day. Because we just assume that it would be a lovely sunny day.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Well, it's a semi-sunny day today, and it's a balmy, I think, 11 degrees. So
oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So I'd like to say you're missing out lots, but you're not really. Well, you are missing because all the daffodils are out now and all the snowdrops. It's very pretty.
Yes, I do miss that. I do miss that.
But you haven't missed the snow and the rain and the misery that it's been over the last few weeks, yeah.
But may I say something to you? Mm-hmm. Since I've met you, Taryn, you really have the ability to motivate an author. Honestly, I must say that in such a lovely, encouraging way, and you just bring out the best in an author. I really do appreciate it. I love working with you, and I have started on book 2.
Yay! Oh, thank you for that. I think it all comes, and you'll know it comes from doing something that you love and something that means something to you. And I mean, as you know, I don't take every single book that comes my way. It's always a book that I think is special or has a really good, has a lot of value to it. So I then become engaged and I become invested in that as much as you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yes, that's definitely, I feel it is our book. Yeah. The way we worked together, and I'm sure you're doing that with all your authors, that you really become part of the process. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, on that lovely note, I am going to tell everybody that they need to pick up a copy. So if you do any kind of speaking, Be the Hidden Speaker Inside, these are the tips that will help you use your voice to change your life, basically. So it's available in all good bookstores. It's available online. Mariette sold all her copies, so you can't have one from South Africa at the moment. But I'm sure when you're back, you'll be signing them and handing them out. So, Mariette, thank you so much for joining me today, and look after yourself and travel home safe.
Thank you so much, Tara, and I'm looking forward to coming home.